Hi everyone, my name is Jessica aka Flotaro from Finding Flotaro, and welcome back to my channel. So today I am going to do a little product review of the Too Faced and Erika Jayne Pretty Mess palette. I picked this up a couple of weeks ago and I wanted to do a review slash product demo, and I think it's a pretty neat palette, so if you are interested, then keep on watching. Okay, so we have the Too Faced and Erika Jayne Pretty Mess palette. If you don't know who Erika Jayne is, she is a member of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, aka Erika Jayne. Real Housewives of Beverly Hills is probably my favorite of the Real Housewives. I don't know why I find it so interesting. I think just because I started watching it right when it started and I just binge watched the whole first season. I was like, this is amazing. And so I've just sort of kept on with it over the past, I forget, how many years has it been on? Like 7 years. So I've just kind of been keeping up with the seasons. And so I was in Sephora a couple of weeks ago and I saw this palette and I was very intrigued by the colors inside. They're not anything revolutionary. I just like the tones of the colors, and so I wanted to pick it up and try and see how it looked and if I could create some looks with it. So right off the bat we have the palette. It's a nice pretty holographic palette. Erika Jayne is known for, you know, extravagance, being over the top. I think one of her songs is called It's Expensive to Be Me, and so this sort of goes along the lines of her overall branding. So this palette costs $42 on Sephora's website. You get 6 mattes, 5 shimmers, and 1 pressed glitter. So let's create a look. I think I want to do a halo look. I haven't done a halo look in a really long time. So let me zoom you guys in and let's get started. Okay, so to get started, I'm going to go in with this light brown color, Show and Tell, and I'm going to blend that all over my lid crease area. Something I really like right off the bat about this palette is the size of the mirror and just the clarity of the mirror. I've encountered a lot of different palettes that include mirrors, don't include mirrors, and so you really appreciate when a palette includes a really nice mirror, and it just makes doing your makeup easier, whether you're at home or even on the road. So I'm taking this color and I'm going in the crease area, but I'm being very liberal with it, and I'm just taking it up almost to my eyebrow and just windshield wiping it all over my eyelid. I'm not being too precise with it. The reason why I'm taking it up so high is because I'm going to add a lot of other colors and layers, so I want to make sure that you can see this brown. Once I'm done blending that all over the lid in a very concentrated form, sometimes I like to have it just a light dusting of color, but today I'm going to do a very pop of color, so I want to make sure it's very saturated. So once you have it saturated, I'm going to take the same blending brush and I'm going to go in with the light pink Lap of Luxury color, and I'm just going to go over the same area with that, just cover up the brown, maybe not go as high next to the brow bone so that you can see the brown. So I'm just going to blend that all over. Okay, so now I'm going to take a more dense blending brush, one that has more of a tapered head, and I'm going to go in with this light purple, Rich is Better. I'm going to concentrate that more in the crease, so I'm not going to blend it up as high or as low as the other two colors. I'm just going to keep it right in the crease. So I've been really digging these purpley mauvey colors. Before it was more of the wine plum colors, but now I really like the purple colors. Sometimes I'll just use like this type of purple as a transition shade. So instead of going first with the brown, I'll just take this purple and place this all over the lid. And I don't know, I really like how it's been looking lately. So I'm just using windshield wiper motions and concentrating this all in the crease. I'm not being shy with the color either. I'm just loading it up. So these colors blend really nicely. I'm noticing there isn't any fallout, but I am tapping my brush right after I dip my brush in the color. There is fallout all around the color on the pan, so Just make sure to tap it before you apply it to your eye, and it should decrease the amount of fallout that you get. And you can always just do your eyeshadow before you do your foundation. That's what I do if I know I'm going to be using a lot of color, just so you can avoid any mistakes. Because who wants color to mess up their foundation after you work so hard for it? Not I, said the fly. Okay, so I have finished applying the Richest Better color to the crease, and so I'm going to go in with that same brush, and I'm going to use the darker purple, F Frugal, fuck Frugal, but we're just gonna say F Frugal here, and I'm going to concentrate that on the outer and inner corner of the eye. So just a reminder, I'm going to do a halo eye, spotlight eye, so I'm going to have the darker colors at the edge of the eye and keep the middle highlighted, so it creates that spotlight vibe. So just taking the same brush, and I'm going to apply that to the outer and inner corners. Okay, see how I've only kept the F Frugal color to the inner and outer parts of the eye? I want to make sure that the center of the eyelid stays the lightest color so that it can be spotlighted. So now I'm going to go in with a small, flat, dense brush. I'm going to go in with the dark brown Private Jet Setter, and I'm going to place a little bit of that color right at the very outer and inner corner, just to sort of anchor the look, to give it more dimension. Make sure to tap off your brush, and I just like to create a small V. See how that already just gave it more dimension? I haven't even blended it out yet, but just adding a dark color to a look just will really ground it. I don't know what other word I can say. Okay, I'm also going to take that onto the inner corner. So just take this color slow. You can add more color if you need it, but less is more with the dark colors. Then I'm gonna go in with that same blending brush and blend it out, but keeping it in the outer corners. I don't want to move it around. Since these colors are so smooth and buttery, you can always just take your finger and lightly brush it over, and it blends it nicely. I am noticing with this darker color, the more I keep adding the darker shadow to build it up, it kind of removes the initial dark color layer that I put on. So maybe instead of blending, just like tap it in so you don't brush off that first layer. So can you start to see the halo effect? You have the darker colors on the inner and outer, and then the light on the inside. So now I'm going to go in with the color that really convinced me to get the palette. It's this purpley wine color, whatever, who cares. I'm going to go in with a flat, dense brush and place that all over the center of the lid, so where the empty space is. So I'm going to pack my brush and just pat it on there. Look how pretty that color is. Okay, so now that I've placed that whatever who cares color all on the center of the lid, I'm going to go back in with the dark brown Private Jet Setter and darken up the inner and outer corners. They just kind of got lighter due to putting the color on, and so I want to make it more saturated. Okay, so now that I have that blended, I'm going to go in with my finger and dip it into Queen E, the salmon shimmer shade, and I'm going to place that all over the top of whatever who cares. So just taking my finger, and I'm placing that right on top of the color. So it made it a coral salmon-y color now instead of that purple wine color. Okay, so now I want to see how that Queen E shade looks if I spray it with like a setting spray first and then apply it with a brush. So Queen E on a dense blending brush, and then I'm going to spray it with some Fix Plus, and then just put that all on the center again. Wow, look how much that intensified the color. So now it's very shimmery, which it looks so pretty. Wow, look at that. So pretty, huh? So pow. Okay, so now I'm going to go back in with that small dense blending brush. I'm going to wipe off a little bit of that dark shadow, whatever color is on the brush, wipe it off a little bit, and then go back into F Frugal and just go along the crease very lightly with that color. Okay, so now I'm going to put on my foundation and I will be right back. Okay, so I've added foundation, bronzer, highlighter. I've also added a wing and false eyelashes. And so what I'm going to do now to finish up the look, I'm going to take that small blending brush again and I'm going to use, let's say, the F Frugal, and I'm just going to place that on the lower lash line, just right at the edge. I'll bring it in towards the center too. So the outer edge of the lower lash line. And then I think I'll go in using the same brush and dip into a little bit of the wine shade, whatever, who cares, and then place that right at the center. Okay, so I think that's it. Let me zoom you on in so that you can see the final touches. So that is the final look. So my overall review of the Pretty Mess Too Faced and Erika Jayne palette is that I would probably give this an 8 out of 10, maybe an 8.5 out of 10. I really like the colors. I like that they have matte transitional shades that you can actually use if you don't have another palette to bring along. Like you just saw, I created this entire eye makeup look with just this one palette, so I really appreciate that. So I think you can use this palette as a single palette to bring with you on a vacation. I'm not sure if I would bring this for an extended vacation, like more than a weekend. The colors are pretty limiting. It's all very one theme of colors, that plum mauve-y wine shade with some corals in there, and so I wouldn't necessarily take this, let's say, for a week-long vacation or longer than a week long. I might get tired of just doing purples and corals, but I definitely do think that you can use this for a weekend away and just bring this one palette. I do really appreciate the soft brown and the mauve mattes to use as a transition shade. And you can also just use that swept all over the eyelid for just a monochromatic look. The shadows are very buttery and smooth. They blend so seamlessly on the eye. I only experienced that one little mishap with blending that darker color. I couldn't blend it out. It was just sort of erasing the color. So I just bypassed that by just stamping the color on versus buffing it in. And so that's probably why I would take away some points for that. But other than that, I really liked the color, especially the Queen E color, that shimmer that we put right on the center of the lid. By itself with just a finger, it was nice, but then by spraying it with some Fix Plus or some setting spray, it really amped up that shimmery, and look how it turned out. I really like it, and I feel it just made this eye look pop even more. So yeah, I really like the shimmer. I didn't use the pressed glitter, the Worth Its Weight, so that one is an actual glitter that's pressed into the pan. When I used my finger to swatch it, chunks of glitter came off. I'm not sure when I would use it. It's a very coppery shade and I don't really use copper shades, but I think I could just use this. If I were to use it, I would just sweep some of that transitional brown and then just use my finger and pat the glitter all over my eye. I think you would have to like play around to see what color use this to top it off with. Yeah, I think I would need to experiment with that. I'm not really sure what I could layer that on top of, but I think by itself it might look really cool with a wing especially. So yeah, that is my review of the Pretty Mess palette, Too Faced and Erika Jayne. If you would like to see more looks created from this palette, just let me know in the comments down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks, bye.